She came and asked me because my wife's always gonna come and ask me. Those two spots up there are for cars. So actually, it rained last night, so the dirt's a little bit, little like nice bushes or something here. You're American. We're glad to see you. 2 weeks I ain't met nobody, man. What's going on, man? We're sitting here, and I'm gonna tell you this too. You think you got all on your face, and hey, what's going on with you and all this? They didn't know if my wife was Japanese or not because so many of my kids like whoa. And it was crazy. The lady was not Japanese, living in Japan and then traveling all over the place. They're just accustomed to doing it. That's what that's about. That's why they're kind of surprised. And now in Japan too, without the ETA in effect yet, so it's gonna be harder to just jump. You still need a visa over here for 90 days. You have to figure it out yourself. Of course, keep in mind. So what I'm getting at here is their start. So what I'm here to say is that we were out there and it was nice and quiet. I'm just here to let you guys know that too. They're very kind to us because they were so. They didn't come out outright and say, "Oh, we're so glad you're Japanese," because he wants to live in Tokyo when he gets back. We said, "Daddy, why do you live in Tokyo?" They live in some areas where they had homes much bigger than us. You see? And then they built 3 stories. So what we noticed in Tokyo is they. Hey guys, this is BSP. So, man, we just got back from Tokyo, man. My son and I, we had 3 wonderful days there. We stayed 2 nights in Nishinjuku, where I usually stay. Sometimes I'll be at different part. I think this next time I come up, I might stay somewhere different. Nishinjuku is cool, but sometimes, you know, when you want to spend time, like I say, Shiodome or Pongi, it takes a little time to get over there. It's not. I mean, you just jump on the Oedo line from Tochomai and get off at Roppongi Station, you're good. But sometimes, you know, just the time, you know, like you want to switch back and forth to your hotel, change up, whatever the case may be. You know, you can save a lot of time if you hang out and then kind of stay around the area you want to hang out at. But we were all over Tokyo, man. We went everywhere. So, as you can see, my land is getting, they're working on the outer parts of my land. In fact, I was just talking to my builder, site manager. He shows up and he looks everything over and makes sure that the work is getting done right. I was gonna walk on here. It rained a lot last night, but it was nice, man. It was just nice hearing that rain. Kind of woke my baby up. She came screaming out of her room. Had to sleep with us for the rest of the night because she didn't feel like it. And now she's off today because she actually started coughing and whatnot. So, you know, things happen like that from time to time. But what they're doing so far is, before I get into what I'm going to talk about, just giving you some update on what's going on here with the land project. They asked us how we wanted the backyard to be done, and I didn't even know they were going to do this. This is what I'm saying, guys. This is in Japan, man. They go above and beyond. They go above and beyond, man. So basically, what they're doing is they asked us how we wanted the land. See, you can see when this all started. I may have it on some of my videos. It was like a lot of weeds. Like it was looking like all like this. You see a lot of weeds and stuff everywhere, right? And so I came out here, man. I was trying to rake up stuff. I didn't really have to do anything because they just came out with them backhoes over there and they just woo, 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 woo. And then they asked my wife the other day. They said, "Hey, how do you want your land? You want it flat? You want it tilted, or whatever? You know, whatever the case may be." My wife said, "We said." She came and asked me because, you know, my wife's always going to come and ask me. You know, she loves me, respects me that much. She's going to come and ask the man. She's going to say, "Hey, Dad, baby, what do you want him to do?" So I said, "Hey, just go ahead and make it straight." So, or make it level. So they're leveling this, and I just talked to my site manager, and he said that over here, we're right near where the wall's being built, and they're gonna put a fence up on the wall on this side, like I was saying earlier. They're gonna just drop more dirt down here, so they're gonna bring more dirt. They're gonna drop it. This is all gonna be level. Of course, it's gonna get hardened up and everything like that. And then, what I'm gonna in turn do is plant some grass. Maybe put a little garden out in the back. We're going to look at that. We're going to assess that. But right now, we're just waiting for everybody to get things done. Once they get everything done, you see, I'm going to go around the front here a little bit and show you what they're going to do with that. But once they get everything done, then we'll be able to sit down and say, okay, now what do we need? What do we want to do with our yard? In fact, I just reminded myself, I think they are going to cut that water level thing down there. They did it on the other side as they started. I can walk. this guy let me walk on this land. And show you from this side here what they're doing. So see here, so like right up there in the front there, and I might be able to show you better from the front angle, but you can see they're going to put concrete all around the house. What I like, and I was looking at this, I was concerned about this because I didn't know, I forgot what the plans look like. I mean, trust me, I have all the plans to our house, land, layout, everything. We have everything in our, that we have everything. We have all the plans. I'm keeping all that for records, everything. But basically, see my land kind of, the land kind of slants. It's not, the lines are not all straight the way the land came out on the map, the way everybody did it. So, it's kind of interesting how this works. But that part right in front of our, what we call a washitza, sliding doors, it's not that much from the, I'm standing on somebody else's land right now. So, but what I'm happy about is that that's going to be all concrete, because I didn't know how they're going to do that. Was they going to just do like a slim level of concrete? No, I wanted to be able to walk around this part on concrete. That way I can walk completely around the house, is what they do anyway in Japan. But I wanted to make sure that that's what, there was no dirt, there was going to be concrete here. And then from here on out, I can think about what I want to do. Now, I know my son loves to kick soccer balls, and we like to play catch, and I want my daughter to get out here and rip and tear if she wants. So this will probably mostly be all grass. I thought about putting like a tree over here in a corner, but I know we're not thinking, we don't know if we want to do that or not, because I want this to be like, they were talking about, hey, you should put some parking rocks all the way up, like parking pebble stones, like all the way up, so we can park more cars. And I'm not, no, those two spots up there are for cars. So I actually have parking for actually 5 cars on our lot. And to me, it doesn't make any sense to have all this other parking, because I don't have that many cars coming here anyway. The only other person that really comes here is my father-in-law with a car. So, I'm not going to waste land just to have a car park when I already got 2 parking spots up there, and I got 1 in the front of the garage, and I got 2 in the garage. So I'd rather this be grass, rather be able to walk and sit and chill on here and do whatever we want to do. I am thinking about growing a little small garden of vegetables. So we're going to see how that's going to work. When you grow stuff, it takes up quite a bit of land. So let me just do like little pots of growing stuff in pots, like I did back in the States. I actually built pots and then hand built them with wood, and then I planted stuff in there. But that was okay, but it just seemed like it was a little bit of a burden, because it was limited in what I could grow. How much I could grow. So I may do something back here in the corner. We'll figure that all out. But let me go back around the front just to show you what I was talking about with the parking part. Try to get some of this dirt off my feet, because I didn't really want to have this. I didn't want to walk on that back part, but I wanted to walk on this so I could see what was going on. Because so it's still rain. It rained last night, so the dirt's a little bit wet. So that's the way it is. And I guess I get dirt on the concrete, whatever, and then just clean it off. So come back around here. So this is what I'm talking about. So in front of the house, as you see, it's all done up. These grates right here, by the way, these grates, man, these things are they're not cheap. I bought, there was some, that my grandfather-in-law, my grandfather-in-law had some grates. You can tell because they're the older ones, that they're kind of like dark it out. I may pressure wash them just to get them to come back to the same color. That one's totally different. It's the older style, but you don't throw these things away. These things last forever. I bought a lot of new ones, as you can tell, and spread them out. They ran like this type. They ran out, so I ended up buying a little like more graded type. I'm probably gonna switch these around. Well, actually, I'm taking it back. I'm gonna leave these right here because I like these, because people are gonna walk pretty much on this part. This one right here is more draining. And when you shovel the snow, you can just lift them up and push the snow down, and it just goes down there. So different things. I mean, Japan is such a practical country, man. I mean, you know, everything is set up to where, for weather, for you maintaining your land, your area, everything like that. So that's what I love about living in Japan. And so, and it's, like I said, here's where we're gonna have two more cars parking here. See, I got a car parked there already, because I can't clear my garage up yet until I get that shed in the back. By the way, I'll show you guys that later. I have a shed in the back, which I bought. So they're gonna put the concrete laid down, and they're gonna put the shed. It's gonna look like I said, something like that over there. And then I can go ahead and throw my snow blowers in there and my tires and whatever things of that nature. And then over here we're gonna probably put some. I'm gonna probably put some little like nice bushes or something here. I want to kind of clean this up, so I got to get a weed cutter and just weed it, get rid of all these weeds in here. I love these. We're gonna keep the stone, of course. Just gotta make it look a lot nicer. Part of this land, I think, like this little, like wherever the pole's at, it belongs to the city. So I think it goes like maybe like this way, diagonally. It belongs to the city. So I mean, I wouldn't do much on that, but the city's not going to ding me up for that. I mean, it's just a pole. So anyway, so speaking of Japan, I'm going to tell you about my trip in Tokyo and what I noticed being there. Now, my son and I spent 3 days there. I'm on the trains. We were walking around. We walked a lot. We were walking fast. People couldn't keep up with us, man. Especially a lot of visitors, because a lot of Americans, a lot of visitors, they're so used to driving around, so they couldn't keep up. And I just forgot about that. I'd forgotten that's the experience that people want to have when they come over. But what I'm here to say about that, though, about foreigners in general, is I noticed that the mood has changed in Japan. The mood has changed. I remember when I first went to Tokyo in '94, how they were all over us, all over Americans, and I lived in Osaka. They were all over us. But these major areas, metropolitan areas like Tokyo and Osaka, they're so used to seeing foreigners that they look like they're kind of tired of us, because there's so many foreigners here now, and foreigners are not really treating Japanese well. They're disrespecting our country here. You had some incident where Americans spray painted a toy gate in Japan. They're climbing all over cherry blossom trees. I seen this back in Washington State. I seen a bunch of people climbing up cherry blossom trees, kids and whatnot. I was like, what the fuck? You don't do that. That's so rude. You don't do that kind of shit. But there's been some people over here, man, that have done some things in Japan, and Japanese just aren't happy with that. And quite frankly, neither am I. So, it's just, and the girls too. I mean, the ladies. I mean, the guys are coming over here and expecting the women to fall out of trees into their arms and whatnot as soon as they smile at them. I mean, you still get the looks, but the women aren't as I'll say friendly, aren't as friendly as they used to be. I mean, there's still a lot of beautiful women around. I mean, I was walking around with my friend Mufasa, and they seem to be really nice to us, but I just noticed a difference. There's just a difference, guys. And I think it's because of the current administration, too. I mean, things have been changing over the years, but I think now, like, I'm hearing that countries they're changing the policies on Americans, like, especially in Europe, like retirement policies, visitor policies. So that American passport is no longer the El Primo passport that it was in the past. It's no longer hey, you're American, we're glad to see you. They're no longer glad to see Americans. I can feel that. I can feel that. I mean, I was walking around in my Dodger gear. I wear I wear two I have three Dodger jerseys, the away, the home. away boot Mookie Betts, home Otani, and then a City Connect Otani. And I was wearing Betts one day, and I wore my City Connect the next day. I heard one guy say, "Oh, Otani," but you don't get that kind of attention anymore. Now I do want to say, on the contrary, where I live here, and anywhere I go on the Sea of Japan and in Toyama or anywhere like you know Nagano, those places I get a lot of attention. Oh, hey, you get people waving, and you say hi, and they say hi, and they're happy to see you. But in Tokyo, you're just another person walking down the street that they just got so used to looking at that you don't even matter anymore. And now they don't feel that nice about Americans. You got asshole up in the White House now, or President Trump. You guys still respect the fact that he's our president. I mean, I can call him whatever I want, freedom of speech. I can call him an asshole, whatever I want to call him. But he's our president, and that's the way it is. We just have to respect that. So, American people voted for this guy. So, anyway, it's just a different environment now. It's a different feeling. I've known guys that have come over here and told me that, they were expecting to, the women that just fall out at them. And the one guy had even messaged me and said, "Hey, man, I've been in Tokyo 2 weeks. I ain't met nobody, man. What's going on, man?" Well, you got to have game is what I keep telling people. But, these women are just not out here dropping in your arms like they used to. Because you're no longer a commodity now. You're just another person. And there's been a lot of people, quite frankly, over here who's messed up the reputation with the way people are acting. And quite frankly, Japanese don't know what to expect from us now. I think that's the main thing. They don't know what to expect. Me, on the train with my son, walking around with my son. My son was just 12 years old. We both walk fast. It runs in my family. My daddy walked fast. My grandparents walk fast. We're fast walkers, man. Fast, tall, fast walkers. And, we just go by. People treated us with respect. Of course, we treat everybody else with respect. And then, funny thing is, when we go to restaurants, they start speaking English with us. And then, when they ask my son what he wants, and I say, "Oh, see, my son, he's Nihonjin this," and then my son said, then they find out he's a Chuga Christian, and say he's a middle school, first grade, and the way he talks, and then they just feel, "Oh shit, he's Japanese," and they just start talking to him like, "Okay, yeah, he's Japanese because he is, right? He's half Japanese, but he's Japanese. Whatever you want to call him, that's okay. Do whatever you want to do, but he's Japanese, right?" So, so my point is that what I'm noticing here, and I'm gonna tell you this too. You guys know me, man. I don't blow smoke on nobody's ass. I tell people the truth. I'm a no holds back guy. I'm not here to steal your energy, because energy in this life is the best. The most important thing we all possess is energy, and that's another subject. But you don't want to let nobody zap your energy. Drama. When you have drama, that's all it is somebody sapping your energy out of you. Okay, you get mad at somebody because they want a reaction out of you. That means they just took some of your energy. Just let all that go. Let it go. Basically, let it go means hold on to your energy, retain your energy. You only share your energy with people that you love or people you care about. That's it. If you don't have any means, like if strangers, I don't get mad at strangers, man. I don't get mad. I don't get reactions or nothing. Like when I was in Tokyo, I remember when I was on the train, me and Derek was doing this. Me and my Foster and them. We would stand up for the women to sit down. Well, I stood up for this one lady, and she kind of looked at me kind of funny, and like, "What are you doing?" And then she sat down, and she had an attitude, and I just kind of like walked off the train, and I didn't even give her pay no mind. But if you got all in her face, said, "Hey, what's wrong with you?" and all this, that means she's created a reaction in you, and she's stealing your energy, and that's not what you want to do. See what I'm saying? That's not what you want to do. So you just blow it off like she's not even there. See, so that's what I'm saying about that. But anyway, getting back to what I'm talking about how we as Americans are being treated. So I did notice that when I was with my wife, and I forgot where we were in. I think it was at Echigo Yuzawa. We go so many places. Oh no, Fuji. We were in Mount Fuji area in March. At late March, we were doing my son's school break. My daughters hadn't started school yet. We were in Mount Fuji, and so we were there, and um, we were in a restaurant, and they didn't know if my wife was Japanese or not because so many foreigners. You get a lot of Chinese, you get a lot of Koreans, South Koreans, and so once my wife started speaking Japanese, man, all of a sudden they started opening up big time to us. We were like carte blanche. It's like, oh, you're Japanese. Oh, hey, we got this, we got that, we got that, we got this. And my wife being as beautiful and friendly as she is, man, they just opened up. They were giving her, sharing all kind of information with her, with us, and then they me. Then I'm speaking Japanese. Then they're like, whoa. Then my kids are like, whoa. And it was like, we're noticing that living in Japan, once they recognize, because they don't always recognize that a foreigner lives in Japan, they always assume, like when my son and I were checked into the hotel, well, um, not at the recent one in Tokyo, I'm sorry, because I'm a member of that hotel. But when we were in Mount Fuji and we and him went into check into the hotel while my wife and daughter were waiting in the car because my daughter was still asleep, um, the lady was not Japanese. A lot of hotels are hiring non-Japanese staff because of the labor shortage here we have in Japan. And she had asked me for my passport, and I said, "Oh, no, you don't need my passport. I live in Japan. Here's my driver's license." So they're already, of course, they're gonna assume that you're a visitor because they're not accustomed to foreigners like myself living in Japan and then traveling all over the place. They're just accustomed to me coming from outside traveling. See, because a lot of foreigners that live in Japan that are working and hustling in Japan, basically, they really can't afford to go to all these places that I go to. They that don't travel much, right? So they may go out on a day trips, jump on the train, do their little off the beaten path kind of trips, but then they got to get their ass back home and get back to work the next day, or even if they're off, they can't afford to stay in somebody else's hotel, right? So that's why when we come in, they're like, oh, whoa, when I show them my driver's license instead of a passport, it's like, oh, because by Japanese law, I live in Japan and I don't have to show my passport. I need to carry my passport because I have a Zaidyu card. And so, I got some updates for you guys on my Ajucan, by the way, too. But yeah, so that's what that's about. That's why they're kind of surprised. But then if it's Japanese, it's like, whoa, then they start treating me like different. So you get treated differently. And I know that some municipalities are also contemplating putting out what they call a tourist price, different price for tourists or whether or not. I know Himeji Castle is a big thing that comes to play and comes to mind. So we'll see how that works. But all I can say is that I feel very privileged living here in Japan, and I'm here to tell you guys that you should try to get over here to live sooner than later, because if they're already non-welcoming to Americans, now the Japanese have not changed any of their visa policies, although yet, but South Korea has. They got that ETA, and they now they rejected a lot of Americans from coming over, right? And now in Japan too, without the ETA in effect yet, um, some Americans are like trying to come over and then they get rejected for no reason. They don't even know why. See, so it's gonna be harder to just jump on the plane. Before in the day, man, American, we got a passport. Many countries we didn't need visas for 90 days, whatever. You still need a visa over here for 90 days, a visitor's visa. You just jump on the plane and you come. But don't be surprised if you get denied entry, because they are going to start that, by the way. Japan's going to make you start doing things before you get on the plane at your local airport where you're coming out from. And if they deem you non-visitable or non-travel, in other words, if they deem you can't come to Japan, then guess what? You won't be coming to Japan. And you'll be one of those people like, oh my God, what happened? I thought I could come. And like, nope, you can't come here because, and they don't even have to give you a reason. You have to figure it out yourself. Of course, keep in mind, if you've had spent a year in jail, if you're a felon, felons are not allowed to visit Japan. They won't let you in the country. So you have to go to some country that will allow a felon to visit, but they will not let you visit Japan. So that I just don't want to break your heart, but I just want to let you know that that is the case. So what I'm getting at here is they are starting to look at a lot of different reasons to not allow you into our country, because this is a very safe country and Japan is very protective of its culture, and the life over here is very comfortable. I know it's very safe, it's very clean, and I know that my son and I, give you an example, we were in this one of these wards in Tokyo that we never go to. My son just out of the blue said, "Daddy, I want to go there because he's in the anime." We went there and it was dark. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and I was like, "Wow, it's getting kind of late." We got back really late, like both. We got back like late, like 2 nights. The 2 nights we were there, man, big time. Like literally, we didn't go to sleep till 1 o'clock in the morning. And so just moving because these kids are coming back from school, and I'm not really looking at getting attention right now. So I'm gonna kind of walk over here and go to my backyard park. But so what I'm here to say is that you know we got back late both nights, but we were out there and it was nice and quiet, and we walked around the station and the area, and there was not one tourist there, of course. And that's Japan. It's just in Tokyo, and that's Japan, man. We have a comfortable life here. I mean, life is very comfortable, and it's quiet. And at night it's quiet because it's supposed to be quiet. You get your asshole once in a while, you bosozokus running around with the motorcycles and whatnot. I mean, that's what they do. That's what kids do. Or some sports cars, or be revving up the engines and roaring all and ripping and tearing all the damn place. We get that, but most of the time, no. Like last night when I got, we got home. We got home last night, and man, got in the hot tub. My wife asked me, as we come back, she said, "Babe, you want me to fire up the hot tub?" I said, "Yeah, babe, fire the hot tub up. Put some hot water up in there." So we went ahead and did that, and got back home. Man, it took me a nice, hot, comfortable bath, shower, had me something to eat a little bit, and then not too long after that, I went to sleep. And I slept very comfortable, although my daughter did wake up a little bit middle of the night. But it was a nice, nice relaxation, nice quiet night. And because that's what we are. We live here in Japan, and that's how things are. So we want to keep it that way, and Japanese want to keep it that way, and we don't need people over here, foreigners over here, showing their ass, climbing on trees, and spraying our toy gates and whatnot. We don't need that kind of shit. I didn't move to Japan to experience the same shit I experienced in the U.S. Okay, that's not what I did. I'm just here to let you guys know that too. For those of you who think you're gonna come over here and do some shit like that, I didn't move over here to this country to experience that. I don't live in this country to experience that. I don't have to experience that bullshit. And Japanese are starting to get tired of it even more and more. And so what I'm here to tell you, all those of you who think you're just gonna come over here and show your ass, Japanese are getting sick of it. They are getting sick and tired of it, and the laws will be changed. I told you, I did a video in Kawagoe last year, and when I went to a concert, I stayed out in Nomiya for 2 nights, and I'm telling you, man, like I said in that video, they will change the laws. They will change the policies to protect this country. They will. If they notice that there's a lot of people coming over here acting like a bunch of fucking idiots, we will get this. I mean, we could live in Japan, but the Japanese government will change up the system, because Japan's a society that unfortunately blames foreigners for any kind of problems they have. It's just the law. It's the way it works, because the normal Japanese just don't behave that way. And like I said, when my wife and I were in the Fuji area, the Mount Fuji area, we were there, and we could tell that they were very kind to us, because they were so comfortable, because they were dealing with a Japanese person, and that's what they like. They're like, oh, you could see the look on their face, man, when we kind of came in there, and my wife was speaking Japanese because they didn't know she was Japanese, not. And then they were like, she was like, it was like, oh, you could just tell. They didn't come out outright and say, oh, we're so glad you're Japanese, but you can tell that they were happy to see Japanese tourists because the problem with this whole setup with the foreigners acting an ass, and I'm not saying every foreigner's acting an ass. Look, look, people come over here, they want to have a good time just like anybody else. But the whole problem with that foreigner acting an ass thing is this, is that when they see Japanese, they're very happy because they know that Japanese are not going to rip their place up. They're going to respect the onsen and the ryokan that they're staying at. They know how to use things. They're going to respect the laws. They're going to respect the integrity of the country. And that's the way that Japanese are. And that's the way that my wife was raised. That's the way my children are being raised. And that's what I've come to know being affiliated with this country for the last 40 years. Like I said, I've been living in Japan on and off, in not for 40 years, but within the last for almost 40 years now. Yeah, this is actually 40 years because, ironically, 40 years ago this month. That's right. I just realized this. 40 years ago this month, I got to Japan for the first time. I was stationed in Okinawa, Japan. 40 years. So I've been living in and out of Japan on and off for 40 years now. Okay, so I'll total of 12 years. So this makes 12 years for me. So I'm accustomed to how things work in Japan. I'm accustomed to the orderly way of doing things in Japan. It's just like the law of the universe, the law of nature. I mean, a lot of people in America don't understand how the law of the universe works. They just believe in the shit that they're told. You need to start paying attention to shit. You need to be more attentive to your way of doing things, right? Instead of reacting to shit, because reactors are people who are not in control of their own lives. If you got to react, no, you need to create your own environment. You're not here to settle on some other shit that somebody else told you how to do it. You're here to set up your own life, to set your own way up, and that's what I'm doing. That's why we're here in Japan. That's why you see me standing on my property here in Japan, because I set this up. See, and that's the way it's got to be. So you want your life, you got to set your life up. But I'm just here to tell you that in Japan, with the way the culture works here and the way the society works here, Japan will not let you, foreigner, come over here and disrupt the processes and the harmony over here in Japan. Yeah, you got companies out here wanting money off of tourists. They're making a lot of money off of tourists. And I was going to tell you something else too about that whole setup. Like, we were in Omotesando, my son and I. We ate at this place called Goku Burger, and it was cool. I mean, I don't eat burgers much, but steak much, but once in a while, my family wants to get it, so I'll take my son there. That's what he wanted. And we noticed that when we went to the toilet, it was so dirty. There's a lot of foreigners eat there, and it's like, you could tell that a lot of the businesses where foreigners frequent. And my wife, when I got back, I told her about it. She said, babe, why do you keep going to these places where a lot of foreigners, tourists go? And I was like, well, because I didn't have time. I didn't, really check everything out. But this time, before I go to Tokyo, I am going to check out places where I don't have to eat around where foreigners eat, because I enjoy the Japanese experience, because I live in Japan and that's why I'm here. So I'm not saying that I don't like foreigners. All I'm saying is that I'm so used to living in Japan. Like, where I live out here, I ain't got to worry about none of that. And we live in Georgia City. We live in Niigata. We ain't got to worry about that out here, because we don't have troves and troves of tourists hanging out over where we live. And this is Japan. And this is, my son kept asking me, because he loves Tokyo like me, but he said, Daddy, why you, because he wants to live in Tokyo when he gets bigger. He said, Daddy, why did you choose where we live? Why'd you choose that place? Why'd you choose that place? I said, son, because I like the peace and tranquility. I like the quiet. I like the sanity. It's Japan. This is Japan for me. I mean, look at this. I got, there's just a house right there that's right around, there's houses around the corner from us, houses down the street, around the bend, but I don't have anybody up on me. I don't have any homes like right up on us. And we were in Tokyo. We know how crowded Tokyo is. You know how crowded it is. And man, what we notice in Tokyo is, like, you see a house this wide, that's pretty rare, right? But what we did, and they do have some areas where they had homes much bigger than ours, much bigger. But for the most part, most of the homes that were new were like, I shit you not. Like, see this where this roof, small roof line, and up, and like that. That was how wide a lot of the homes were, or they were this wide. You see, and then they build the 3 stories. So what we noticed in Tokyo is they have narrow 3-story homes. There was a lot of narrow 3-story homes. So and I saw a nice narrow 4-story home right outside the hotel we stayed at. So people are building wisely, but they don't have a lot of space, and like we do, and that's why I love living out here. So I'm gonna go. I just want to let you guys know that you have to be careful. Things are changing for Americans. Things are changing in Japan. The attitude is changing. It's a combination of things. This is who's in the White House right now, his policies, what he thinks about Japan, and this also has to do with what people are doing over here in Japan when they visit. All right. So anyway, guys, this is BSP Japan. I think the postman's in my house. I'll talk to you guys later. I'm out.